35, 40.
Encore une petite minute. Et puis on peut...
2-3 minutes.
Une petite minute, ça devrait être suffisant. Mr. Hijazin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Bonjour. Sabah al-khair. Goedemorgen. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you on the occasion of this webinar organized by the Arab-Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce in the close collaboration with the Embassy of Tunisia in Brussels, the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Tunis, with the collaboration also of CEBEX and the Agency for Promotion of Investment, FIPA, to present you the investment and partnership opportunities in Tunisia. We are also honored and pleased to welcome on this occasion His Excellency, Ambassador of Belgium in Tunisia, His Excellency, Mr. Christophe de Bassompierre, and our friends and partner from AWEX, FEED, Hub Brussels, that we will provide you with their expertise on this matter. We are also pleased to welcome at the end of the session, Mr. De Meersman, CEO of the company of D'Amico, who will present his experience and success story in Tunisia. And before the end of the session, we will be pleased also to have the great occasion to have a meeting with the all chairman, with all president of the Chambers of Commerce of Tunisia, because we are lucky that today they have their meeting in Sousse, I think, today. And so that we will have the pleasure to meet all the chairmen of the Chamber of Commerce of Tunisia at the end of this session. So, why put the spotlight on Tunisia? Since many years, the country has become the right place for your investments and partnership. In fact, the Tunisian economy offers a high quality environment for investment and partnership, in particular, the high level of education of the working population, the rigor of macroeconomic management, and the quality of public institutions and financial institutions are favorable for the competitiveness of companies. I will not be so long to be sure, because we have really experienced speaker after me. With its diversified and market-oriented economy, Tunisia has long been cited as an example of success in Africa and Middle East. It offers an attractive and dynamic market with many opportunities in various sectors. I will not go through, but I think that our speakers, they will go through the sectors like ICT, IT, outsourcing, automotive, aeronautic, agro-food, so on, and textile, oil and gas, to cite only some of them. Tunisia is for Belgian companies an ideal and valuable partner to still considered. In fact, Belgium is today the fourth foreign investor in Tunisia in terms of number of companies, perpetuating 182 years of friendship between the two countries since the signature of the first Tunisian-Belgian Friendship and Navigation Treaty signed in 1839. That's been 182 years ago, between the Bey of Ahmed Bey of Tunisia at that time and the King Leopold I, the King of Belgium. More, the country is situated at the crossroad of Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. It means that its central position in the Mediterranean and an access to the numerous market for companies due to its preferential treaties that mean Tunisia have more and more treaties and agreements with different countries. I think the next speaker will cover this subject also. For years now, Tunisia has been privileged partner for the European Union also, with long-standing trade relations, being economically, culturally, and socially close to each other. That's mean relation between Tunisia and the European Union not only strong on economic level, but also in the social level and cultural level. It's so important for us also. Tunisia export goes 70% of trade relation between Tunisia and Europe and the EU, and in the same time, 50% of Tunisian import coming from the EU. That's mean showing how much the connecting between Tunisia with the European Union. That's mean with Belgium and Luxembourg also. Now, before giving the floor to His Excellency Mr. Nabil Ammar, Ambassador of Tunisia in Brussels, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Arab ambassadors who is joining this webinar today, our partners in Arab countries. I know there is some partners in Jordan, in Syria, in Palestine, I think in Egypt, Morocco, and Algeria, and Syria. They are joining our webinar today. I would like to thank all of them, and I would like to thank also our speakers, His Excellency Ambassador of Belgium, Mr. Christophe de Bassompierre, and also His Excellency Mr. Munir Mouakhar, Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce of Tunisia, Mr. Ghanmi, my friend since many, many years, General Manager of FIPA, and Mr. Imad Hfayef, the Director of CEPEX. And I would like to thank also, as mentioned also always, our partners, Mr. de Klerk, Director Africa and Middle East from AWEX, Mr. Guilain Bredel, Area Manager of Hub Brussels, and our friend, Ms. Lise Patens, Area Manager of FEED. And as I mentioned, at the end of this session, we would see the presentation of a success story of Mr. Demersman. Thank you for your participation at this webinar and wishing you all success. And Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador Nabil Ammar, the floor is yours. Please.
Thank you, dear Secretary General. Good morning to all of you again. And I would like to convey to you my strongest words of my thanking words for making sure that this meeting can take place in those very difficult conditions that we have to deal with those for the time to come, unfortunately. But I would like also, my first purpose is to save your time. So I will be very, very brief. Special thanks, of course, to the Secretary General of the Arab-Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Hijazin, who reacted very quickly, and special thanks to His Excellency Ambassador Christophe de Bassompierre. I know that he has a meeting going on, an important meeting, and he still accepted to participate to this important gathering. My message today is to try not to avoid all the things that you probably know very well about Tunisia, but you know, the context that we are living in now in Tunisia is moving, is changing. And it's very important for the partners to understand that it is changing in the positive direction. It cannot be something else. Tunisia enjoys strategic location, and this will not change. Its economy is diversified. It will not change. It is resilient. It is flexible economy. It is a reactive economy, and we have proved it. It is an economy that relies on high quality human resources and competitiveness. Languages, foreign languages are not foreign for us. We are a melting pot. We are accustomed to work with non-Tunisians. Living conditions are excellent in the country, and the capacity to adapt of its economy is well known for the specialists. The economy of Tunisia is of an optimum size for every investor. We enjoy free trade agreements, but also excellent relations between Tunisians and Tunisia as a country with African countries and Africans populations and in sub-Saharan region as well. As we enjoy excellent relation with our other Arab countries in the region. So we are ready we have already had excellent relation story with Belgium, with Luxembourg, with European countries, generally speaking, but we are ready for the next step. We are ready to upgrade those relations. We are ready to welcome a new generation of investments in the new sectors of activity. And every modern sector of activity that you cite, you can have in mind, Tunisia is at the heart of it. And this is a very important point. So when we talk about organic or typical agri-food products, when we talk about green energy, when we talk about digitalization, when we talk about services, including tourism, when we talk about industries, high-tech industries, pharmaceuticals, medical services, name it and you have it. We are ready again for new scale and higher value of relations between Tunisia and Belgium and Luxembourg. Also, we can rely on all the individuals' initiatives, and this is very important for the years to come. Many Tunisians, young competences are here settled in, whether it is in Belgium or in Luxembourg, but also the European competences that are in contact with them here and in Tunisia as well. And we can rely on those competences that can create projects from their own offices, from their own homes today, which is very, very remarkable. So when we talk about history of our countries, we see that it's a nice history. It's plenty of success stories, but we need to upgrade this level, and we can do it. And Tunisia today is even more ready than it was in the past to upgrade this scale of relations with its European partners. So this is the main message. I'm stressing about this message because for the partners, potential partners, not to be polluted with what they may read or see when it comes to the political transition in the country, which is a positive one, which is emerging from the internal sources from the country. And this is very important. Internal sources from the country cannot deliver negative messages, cannot deliver negative actions. It will be in the right path. It will clean the climate of investment. It will ease the investment climate and conditions for every partners. So in one word, please do pay attention with cleverness to what is happening in Tunisia. You can make profit and good business in the country, and it is time to pay this attention and to to do the right path. And thank you for your attention and patience.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for this nice words. We believe sure that relations are very good between Tunisia, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the EU. But as you just mentioned, we can upgrade, and there is room. There is room to upgrade. All sectors are open for the new relation. We have to upgrade the relation between our two countries. Thank you again, Mr. Ambassador. And now let me give the floor to our other ambassadors. That means the ambassador of Belgium in Tunisia, His Excellency Mr. Christophe Basson-Pierre. Please, Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this webinar. This is actually a little bit of particularity of being ambassador of Belgium here in Tunisia. I find myself, usually we promote investments in Belgium or exports from Belgium. But due to a particular position of Belgium here, you have said it, Belgium is fourth investor of a foreign investor in Tunisia. We find ourselves also often promoting the interests of those investors and explaining the advantages of investing in Tunisia. So I'm very glad to be here. Historically, this important Belgian presence has mainly started in the 80s and 90s and was driven at the time by very favorable conditions made to foreign companies by the Tunisian government. And it was especially concentrated in textile industry. Most of the companies that came at that time are still here and will tell you that they have had a very good relationship with Tunisia and a lot of success here. Mr. Johnny de Mersman is an example of that, and he will speak later in the webinar. And I think this positive experience continues in spite of the fact that since the time they came here, this preferential status has been somewhat eroded. The conditions are a little less favorable, but they still speak very highly generally of their presence here and everything that has brought them. Now, we must recognize that in the last few years, there has been less of a flow of new investment from Belgium to Tunisia. And Tunisia has suffered from a number of external difficulties, going from the difficult situation in neighboring Libya, terrorist attacks, political changes. And even now, when I hear the message of Ambassador Ammar, and we all hope for the best for the political future of Tunisia, but still, I think from the point of view of an outside observer, at least the political situation brings at least a little bit of uncertainty and questioning. But apart from that, and in spite of that, I think there have been new investment regularly, constantly, maybe not at the same level as in the past, and also in very diverse sectors. And there, I think this underlines that indeed the Tunisian economy is very diversified. We have seen new players coming in the IT. Yesterday, I met a real estate agent that is developing a new office here. So it is diversifying into services much more than before. There are also industrial opportunities. I just went to the inauguration of a new factory in the mineral sector recently. And so, in spite of how should I say, an appearance or a public discourse of some difficulties, we see that investors who can look at the structural advantages of Tunisia see them and find opportunities here. Now, COVID, of course, has been a very difficult factor in the last few months. we're coming out of this, and I think we're seeing the Tunisian economy, rebounding, and companies here are expressing optimism about the future, and so this is very encouraging. So it's probably a very good time. You have chosen good timing for this webinar. I think it's time to look at Tunisia now. I think COVID has probably brought a new advantage to the ones Tunisia already has, and that is a certain awareness that long value chains may be a problem, and that Tunisia might deserve a new look again as a close partner, and I mean close, of course, geographically, very close, but also close in many ways culturally. For Belgium, through its language, we share the use of French. All of this brings a lot of advantages that may be looked at again with a fresh look, and deserve attention from our investors. Also, again, I think what remains very strong here is the strength of human resources in Tunisia. I see this every day. Very dynamic youth, very dynamic entrepreneurs exist. And so this is something we can take advantage of. Also, it is an economy, and this Ambassador Amar also said it's very true. It is an economy of niches where Tunisia has very strong specific sectors and activities where strong partnerships can be built, and I think it has the capacity of building new ones that we could develop with specific strengths that we would bring from Belgium. I think in sectors as green energies or other activities related to sectors of the future, less conventional activities. So there is much to be done, and I think it's the right time to look at Tunisia again. And we will certainly, as embassy here, try to encourage that as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your kind words. And as you just mentioned, it's very dynamic, the dynamic economy and the close cultural relation between two countries is very important, and the dynamic entrepreneurship and the young generation in Tunisia, these factors are very important, and new sectors, as I just mentioned before, we have to upgrade. We go out from traditional sectors, we have to go to new sectors, as you just mentioned, green energies, and we can mention also startups and so on. Thank you again, Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. And now I move to our next speaker, our partner, our sister Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Munir Mouakhar, Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Tunisia. Sayyid Munir, the floor is yours. تفضل.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hajazin. I'm really very happy to be here with you. So thank you very much for Excellencies, Mr. Nabil Aymar, my friend, for Mr. Christophe, the Ambassador of Belgium here in Tunisia. So thank you for these nice words. I think to say it sometimes, Nabil Ammar said the most important things that we have to do and to have to say today. So I'm really very happy to be here, and I'm very honored to discuss with the Tunisian doing business with the Belgian and Luxembourg friends. I would first of all thank the Arab-Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce and the Embassy of the Republic of Tunisia in Brussels to have organized such event. So ladies and gentlemen, Tunisia is really a land of opportunities. That's why a large number of foreign investors in several sectors trust it to implant their business. The well-established and thriving ecosystem coupled with the multiple attractive incentives stand as the main reasons to encourage these leading companies to choose Tunisia among the better business destination. Ladies and gentlemen, Tunisia is a favorite seat for investors wishing to serve neighboring markets as Algerian, Libyan markets. It is also a regional platform to cover, on the one side, the European countries, and the other side, the African countries, as well as the Arab Gulf states enjoying strong growth and high purchasing power. Tunisia is a hub to access several international markets, since it always has been among the first countries to build solid partnership. EU-Tunisia Association Agreement, Free Trade Agreement, Free Trade Area with Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, Morocco, Iraq, and the League of Arab States, COMESA Agreement. Adding to that, Tunisia is considered as a privileged economy partner for EU, which generates high trading exchange with the European countries and is also a portal to the African market. Ladies and gentlemen, for many years, Tunisia has tried to implement several measures to improve its economic exchange with Africa. Its historical links with all African countries and its relatively diversified and complementary economy with African markets offer various trading opportunities for economic operators and both sides in spirit of mutual interest. By joining the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, in July 2018, Tunisia is willing to take part in the economic development of this area as the largest economic bloc of the continent. On March 2018, Tunisia adhered to the agreement creating the African Continental Free Trade Area. It is a very, very big, a very important free trade area. The continent, the African Free Trade Area, it's started between January 2021. So it is very important for the development of the intra-African trade between all the African countries. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tunis Chamber of Commerce has organized a Tunisian businessman mission to Brussels and Luxembourg roadshow based from 23 to 27 of April 2019. It was a very successful experience. This roadshow was organized in collaboration with the Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce, the Arab-Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce, the FIPA office in Brussels. This time, as you mentioned, Mr. Hajazin is our friend Mukhtar Chouari, and with the support of the Tunisian embassy in Brussels. The program has included workshops, site visits, networking, and B2B meetings in different sectors: agribusiness, environment, renewable energies, building materials, services, trading and consulting, health, and tourism. As you know, tourism is a very big part of the Tunisian economy, and you have infrastructure, very important infrastructure to develop the tourism. And I invite all the participants to come to Tunisia. The situation is very, very wonderful, and the weather is very wonderful. We have everything we know. 3 Belgian company has testified that their experience in Tunisia and stressed that Tunisia is a competitive country characterized by dynamic growth, simplified procedure, and pleasant living conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, I will I think it is very, the intervention of His Excellency Nabil Ammar was enough to explain the situation in Tunisia. But I have the le hasard du calendrier, like I discussed with the Secretary General, Mr. Khaysam. We are now meeting with all my colleagues, President of the Chamber of Commerce in Tunisia, like Sousse Chamber of Commerce. I'm now in Sousse. Is a very nice town, very touristic, and in southern Tunisia. Sfax, Gafsa, Nabel, Jendouba. So all the president of the Chamber of Commerce are here, and I will be back when you want to present our friends and to give you all the opportunities that we can have in all the regions of Tunisia. Thank you very much, Mr. Hajjalin. Thank you for you. Thank you for everybody. And I'm very interesting to increase the relationship that you can have, the trade relationship, the economic one, investment, trade between Tunisia and the Belgium and Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much.
أهلا وسهلا. شرفتونا. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this presentation and the warm relation between the Chamber of Commerce and Tunisia and the FIBA, as you just mentioned. In the past years, we have to receive yearly. That's mean every year we receive a delegation from FIBA, from Tunisia Chamber of Commerce to Belgium since many years. And thanks to Mr. Mukhtar Shawari, who was the director of FIBA here in Brussels, we will have to organize this session with him. Thank you again. And as you just mentioned, we will have the opportunity to speak with the chairman of Chamber of Commerce. Now we have to move to the next speaker, if you don't mind. Our next speaker is Mr. Imad Hfayef. He is the director of the Center of Export Promotion, that means CEPEX in Tunisia. He will lecture. Yes, please. He will lecture. Yeah, no, I don't know. Now, sorry. I don't know who will be the speaker. It's the FIBA. Okay, sorry then. Our next speaker, our next speaker will be Mr. Abdelbasit Ghanmi, who is Director General of the FIBA. He is really a friend personal friend. We have the opportunity to have Mr. Ghanmi, chairman of FIBA in Brussels for many years, and we have the really relation covering 10 years now. And now, please, Mr. Ghanmi, please, the floor is yours.
I think, thank you, Mr. Ijazin. Your Excellency, Mr. Nabil Amar, Ambassador of Tunisia in Brussels, Your Excellency, Mr. Christophe de Bassompierre, Ambassador of Belgium in Tunisia, Mr. Munir Mouakhar, President of the Tunisian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, dear colleagues and friends from AOX, from Hub Brussels, from FIT, from CEPEX, and also our friend Demir Smenon from DEMCO. I'm really pleased to join you to this webinar, which is dedicated to the partnership between Tunisia and Belgium. My presentation, of course, will be in the same direction as His Excellency, the Ambassador, has already mentioned, which will be focused on the foreign direct investment in Tunisia and the numerous opportunities prevailing in our country. But first, let me give you an overview of foreign direct investment in Tunisia. We have a long history with foreign direct investment in Tunisia, and Belgium indeed is a historical partner in Tunisia. So Tunisia, despite the current difficult situation, which is mainly impacted by the COVID-19, maintains its position as an attractive business destination for foreign investors. Tunisia is home to plus 3,700 foreign companies. They are providing jobs to more than 400,000 people, almost 500,000. Belgium has a strong presence in Tunisia. It is indeed one of the largest foreign investors in Tunisia, with more than 209 companies, mainly in the manufacturing, in high added value service activities. Of course, Tunisia has been impacted by the COVID-19. We have witnessed a decrease of foreign direct investment in 2020 of around 29%. But despite this decrease, we have registered more than 500 new investment operations in Tunisia. During the until September 2021, we are almost at the same level of 2020. The situation is still critical in related to foreign direct investment, and I think the main challenge is how to attract new investors. So the foreign direct investment is mainly made by existing companies. We have registered more than 452 new investment operation. It's a good sign that despite the difficult situation, we are able to attract, and foreign investors have trust in our country, and they are investing more and more. Why they have to invest in Tunisia? Because we have many assets. Several assets have been already mentioned by previous speakers, but I will be mentioned. Of course, the geographical position is a strong point, but what we are really now we have to put in first is the position, both geographic and also the connectivity with other potential region. So in Tunisia, you have the possibility to access major markets. Of course, if you look north to Europe, we have free trade agreement with Europe, but mainly with neighboring countries. It has been mentioned by my friend, Mr. Munir Mokhar, neighboring markets, Algeria, Libya. But the most important thing that we are promoting Tunisia as within triangular cooperation. So we are looking for know-how from Belgium with Tunisian capability and looking south to Africa. So Tunisia is well positioned as a hub for Africa. In addition to historical links with sub-Saharan African countries, we are enhancing our integration in other potential regions, in particular the eastern and the southern and the western parts of Africa. It's very important. We are looking for a win-win partnership. So it's very important to consider Tunisia as a hub for potential markets, in particular South. Why Tunisia is potential site for investment? In addition to the geographic position, of course, the main asset of Tunisia is related to human resource. Tunisia has a large pool of high skilled labor force. We have plus 65,000 new graduates per year. We have a strong education system, vocational infrastructure, and also the potential. If you look to the number of research, we have 20,000 rank A researchers. It's very important for a population of around 11 million. It's the same population, I think, of Belgium. We have also, in addition of the availability of skilled labor force, Tunisia offers the most competitive cost of labor, in particular related to engineers and also technicians. You have here the benchmark, which is, we are using FDI benchmark tool, which is the label of Financial Times, which shows that Tunisia is the most competitive country in the region in terms of skills. We are mainly, His Excellency Ambassador Nabil Ammar has mentioned that the negative messages which are really prevailing this time, but we have to focus on the positive. Tunisia, despite this difficult situation, is well positioned, and we are ranked first in North Africa for scientific and technical articles. We are ranked 13th worldwide, according to the Indice Mondial de l'Innovation 2020. We are second for the number of graduates in science and engineering worldwide, Global Innovation Index 2020, and second for the level of maturity of governments in the field of artificial intelligence. Indeed, Tunisia is well positioned in innovation and is playing a lead role in the artificial intelligence, and many startups are now really good big players on the international level. We are also the third most innovative economy in Africa. It's very important and to focus on these innovative activities. We are also ranked first in the country in Africa for the quality of information communication technology infrastructure. We are complaining about the level of our infrastructure, which of course need to be upgraded, but we believe that we have the right infrastructure which enable foreign companies to produce or to provide service worldwide. The investment environment, which provides for which is free for in the majority of sectors. There is no restriction for the transfer of profits and capital gains. Simplified procedures and all the custom procedures, they are done on site for the import and the export. Substantial incentive, fiscal and financial incentives are granted to investors in 18 priority sectors, and also the priority is for employment and for the technology. So substantial financial grants up to 30% of the investment amount, and exemption from income tax from 5 to 10 years in regional development areas, and also the assumption of social contribution from 5 to 10 years. We are also pioneering in startups, and Tunisia has put in place dedicated, I think, the Startup Act, which is considered the most innovative and high impact project category for enabling environment, and it has been ranked 23rd best worldwide visa program, with the ambition to position Tunisia as a startup nation. Tunisia is in the top African tech ecosystem of the future 21-22, first in the cost effectiveness, average wage of skilled employees, firm rents, etc., and also third in human capital. As you can see, our main focus and the main asset of Tunisia is related to talents. Let's move now to the opportunities which are offered to foreign investors. Of course, it has been mentioned that we have mainly, we started attracting foreign investment in the early 70s. It has been mainly in the textile and upper industry, but now we are mainly focusing on high added value activities, and even in the textile, it's really the top technology. The first sector, of course, of interest, and which is the most promising sector, is the digital sector. It's 3 billion euro turnover, 7% average annual growth, and it contributes to 7.5% of our GDP. It's sector of over 1,800 companies, 12% of them are 100% foreign capitalization. So there is a strong presence in this sector, 52% share of innovative exporting companies, and nearly 80,000 direct jobs. Why this sector? Because it covers all the value chain and it covers all the other sectors. The Tunisian companies and are fully engaged in emerging technology, either blockchain, IoT, and artificial intelligence. And you have, you can see here a mixture of 100% Tunisian companies and also international companies. So it's very important to show that Tunisia is open also to international companies which are working from Tunisia to worldwide. The other sector is mechanical and electronic industry, which is now the first exporting sector. We used to have textile for many years, the leading exporting sector. It's sector of plus 1,000 companies. More than half of them are have foreign participation. This shows that there is a strong presence of foreign companies. Almost half of them are wholly exporting companies. Tunisia is the first, the seventh supplier of EU for electrical machinery, top 3 producer of automotive components in Africa, and Tunisia is indeed a reference site for automotive components. And Tunisian companies based in and foreign companies based in Tunisia are fully engaged in new trends and the transformation which is in connection with electric mobility and connected mobility. Agribusiness sector also is an important sector, and Tunisia is ranked first in Africa as an exporter of organic products. First country with the recognition of the bio-EU equivalence. We have over 1,000 companies. Again, it's a sector of partnership between Tunisian and foreign companies. We are looking for expertise, for the know-how, but we have the right capabilities in Tunisia. promising niches are related to organic products, packaging and olive oil bottling, and frozen products, cooked and semi-finished products, and essential oils. Textile and apparel is we have 1,600, about 1,700 companies. 83% are totally exporting. So it's mainly sector. It's mainly oriented for the export. It's one of the major employer in manufacturing industry. 170,000 jobs. 1,200 foreign companies. We are mainly focusing on the upper market, and also we rely on our proximity to potential markets to deliver short series and so on. We are the largest supplier of Europe, second supplier of France in this sector, and also free trade agreement with EU and other region. We have a strong know-how and the strong qualification of our labor force. Other opportunities are prevailing in the pharmaceutical sector. If you look to the pharmaceutical sector, it's one of the promising sector within the COVID-19 context. Renewable energy is also a potential sector. We have a dedicated legal framework, and we have already since 2019 starting to launch projects with foreign participation. There is a great potential for the solar and wind energy, and our ambition, of course, is to reach 30% of our needs from renewable by 2030. The aerospace industry is also a resilient sector, even with COVID-19. Companies based in Tunisia are investing, and they show strong resilience. It's a sector which enabled the creation of more than 1,000 employees per year. It's very important, and in particular in the quality of employment. It's very important. We are very well positioned in engineering, in R&D activities, medical tourism, infrastructure projects. Of course, we have to improve the quality of our infrastructure, in particular related to logistics, and also all with relate to new highways, and also there is a strong need for a deep water port, which is under construction. And I hope that soon we'll launch a potential and promising program, and I believe that Belgian companies will take profit from this. Few words before to conclude, because I promised my friend Mr. Hijazin that I will be in time. About our agency, which is we have a strong experience with foreign direct investment. FIPA has about 27 years of existence, and we are a partner for foreign direct investment. Our main task is to provide the right information to foreign investors, to also to help them to identify the best site and the right capabilities. And we are working with all the ecosystem in Tunisia, either from the private sector and the public sector, with our partners, and we have strong relation in Belgium with all the organization, either from the private and the public sector. And with the support of our embassy in Brussels, we will be able to guide you and to advise you and to enable you to make the right decision and to invest in good conditions in Tunisia. Thank you very much for your attention, and I stand ready to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ghanmi, for this complete and professional presentation. You can go ahead. It's really a pleasure to listen to your presentation. Thanks again. It's not easy to resume your presentation, because what I have to understand the importance of the potential of the human resources and the high quality of human resources in Tunisia, and the competitive cost, and really the innovation economy in Tunisia that became an innovation economy. And last but not least, the friendly business environment also in Tunisia. That's important. And thanks the infrastructure, we can go ahead. The infrastructure, the international standards of infrastructure, it's so important also for communication. Thanks again, and thanks. We would like to add that if there is any question, I think Mr. Ghani will be pleased to answer any questions if it's needed. Thanks. Thank you again. And now let me give the floor to the next speaker, Mr. Imad Al-Fayef, Director of the Center of Export Promotion that in the CEPEX. He will lecture on the state of trade relation between Tunisia and Belgium and Luxembourg and the partnership opportunities between two countries. Mr. Al-Fayef, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Thank you. Bonjour, Aslama. Good morning, everyone. Excellency, esteemed online guests. It's a great pleasure for me to participate on this webinar and doing business with Tunisia. I would like to thank the Embassy of the Republic of Tunisia in Brussels and the Arab-Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce for this good initiative, which aim to explore way to boost economic and commercial cooperation ties with Tunisia. Just let me share with you a presentation about bilateral trade and business opportunity between Tunisia and Belgium-Luxembourg region. It's okay, I can see them, okay? So, Belgium is a priority trade partner for Tunisia. You see, Belgium is ranked 9th client of Tunisia and it's 11th supplier. Tunisia is also the 7th client of Belgium and it's 14th supplier in Africa. As you can see here in the slide, bilateral trade between Tunisia and Belgium registered a steady growth during the last 5 years. Total trade in goods in 2020 amounted to 16 billion Tunisian dinar. It's the equivalent of 505 million euro and shows a growth of 5% compared with 2019, despite the global health crisis. During 2021, exactly, we are speaking about 11 months into the end of November, bilateral trade shows a growth of 13.3% compared with the same period of 2020 to reach 525 million euro. Tunisia export to Belgium have increased by 12%. We need to reach 245 millions. And imports have increased by 14.5%. We are importing the value of 280 million euro from Belgium. Bilateral trade by sectors, Tunisian export to Belgium are dominated by textile and clothing, with a share of 54% of total export, and also mechanical and electrical sector, which accounts for about 35%. Tunisian major export to Belgium in 2020 include lots of products. We find the men and tracksuits and swimwear of cotton, 28% of the total. Women night dresses, 30.1. Electricity supply meters, dates, olive oil, etc. We know that Tunisia is also the Belgium largest supplier for men tracksuit of cotton, with a market share of 47.7% of Belgian total imports. Also, Tunisia is the first supplier of dates to Belgium. We import mainly copper wires, woven fabrics, clothing, accessory, etc. from Belgium. About bilateral trade with Luxembourg, we notice a big fluctuation from year to year. It's not really stable. Total trade exchange did not exceed 20 million dinar, or exactly 6 million euro equivalent. In 2021, bilateral trade is recording significant growth of 74% to reach almost 10 million euro, but it's still below the expectation. We are exporting to Luxembourg containers of iron or steel, electricity supply meters, and we are importing mainly part of machine, refined copper, other plastic items. So we are really convinced that the trade between Tunisia and Belgium, Luxembourg region is not yet fully exploited, and that business opportunities exist for both sides. Just to give you an idea, according to the analysis of the supply and demand potential between Tunisia and Belgium, for example, the untapped trade potential is estimated to 470 million euro. So our total trade can easily reach 1 billion euro, because we believe that new trade opportunities has to be explored. Tunisia and Belgium and Luxembourg have the opportunity to increase their trade, value of trade, and develop a win-win strategic partnership in many sectors. My colleague from FIPA, Mr. Ghanmi, mentioned lots of this sector, like agri-food and organic products, mechanical, electrical, and electronics, renewable energy, services, ICT, innovation, medical and pharmaceutical products, aeronautics, textile and clothing, tourism, and hydrotherapy, for example. So to give you just an example for not use the trade potential between Tunisia and Belgium, in this slide we can see all products with a huge potential to export to Belgium. We use only 2% of our export potential for automatic cable, for example. Only 35% for some clothing item. We can raise additional export, Tunisian export to Belgium, estimated to 225 million euro. Same to Belgium. There is untapped export potential to Tunisia, estimated to 145 million euro in many fields, such as automotive parts, pharmaceutical components, plastic, rubbers. Another field of strategic cooperation, everyone is agreed that my colleague also from FIPA insisted on to consider Tunisia as an African hub for Belgian and Luxembourg company. It's very important to build this strategic cooperation. In fact, as you know, Tunisia is located in the heart of the Mediterranean and well positioned as a connector between Africa and Europe, and we signed many free trade agreements with more than 70 countries representing almost 1.3 billion consumers. As you know, Tunisia and Belgium and Luxembourg, we are a small similar markets in terms of number of consumers. We are speaking about 12 million from each side. So it's strongly recommended to strengthen our strategic and complementary partnership to approach other market together. All of participants speak about COMESA. It's very important. Tunisian ascension to the free trade zone of common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, it's more than 6 million consumers, represent a great opportunity not only for Tunisia, but also for our Belgium and Luxembourg, France, to consider Tunisia as a hub and a gateway to Africa. Also, Belgium and Luxembourg are located in the heart of Europe, at the crossroad of European and extra-continental sea routes and air routes, and can be also a gateway for Tunisia to other European countries. Through the creation of joint venture and other partnership or co-producing with Tunisian partner, Belgium, Luxembourg exporter can also benefit from a tax exempt when they export to a COMESA region, for example. I just concretely, when you export, I choose a product, electronic integrated circuit from Belgium. When you export this kind of product, and it's valid for lots of other product like shoes or any product, when a company from Belgium or Luxembourg export electronic integrated circuit to Kenya, for example, which is a big market in COMESA zone, you have to pay 25% of custom duties. So you can produce the same product totally or just with an add value of 35% to Tunisia, and you have the possibility to re-export this product from Tunisia to Kenya free of tax. And also, in addition, you have a gain on competitiveness. You have to be more competitive when you export this, when you could produce this product in Tunisia. Some proposition to develop our trade. I think we have to intensify the organization of promotional action in our respective countries. That's like business meeting, B2B trade fairs and exhibition. We wish to see a trade delegation in Tunisia in 2022 here to organize B2B meetings between Tunisian partners. Also, we have to encourage this industrial cooperation, and Tunisia is proposing skills, know-how, and competitiveness for industrial subcontracting from the Belgium and Luxembourg partners in many fields: electronics, assemblies, textile, and lots of product. We have also to develop a new partnership by targeting markets in a tripartite approach in Sub-Saharan Africa and neighboring countries like Libya and Algeria. We have to work for the joint achievement of projects in Africa and telecommunication, for example, infrastructure, mass distribution, health, education. We have lots of Tunisian company success story, Tunisian working in Africa. Before I finish, just a few words about, I would like to mention and highlight the fruitful institutional cooperation between our counterpart, our similar, the Wallen Export and Foreign Investment Agency, AWEX, and the Export Promotion Center, CEPEX. We have signed a technical collaboration agreement in 1999, and really we have a very rich activity together. The recent project is about assisting CEPEX to prepare the implementation of the restructuring of its agency and services in order to achieve its development objective. Finally, I want just who don't know the CEPEX. CEPEX is a government institution operating under the Tunisian Ministry of Commerce and Export Development. We are created in April 1973. Our objective is to promote the expansion of Tunisian exporters and increasing international visibility of Tunisian export potential. We support all Tunisian exporter and also assisting foreign importer to organize trade promotional events and arranging a meeting between them. I wish everyone a successful day, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rafai, for this overview presentation and coming with this trade relation between Belgium, Luxembourg, and Tunisia. And I see what you are targeting to promote this relation to reach 1 billion euros. Why not? Why not? Why not? As you just mentioned, also, I would like to emphasize also the situation, the geostrategic position of Tunisia, the triangular relation. You can be the hub for Africa, for Belgium and Luxembourg companies, as you just mentioned, avoiding paying tax. As you just mentioned, if we export directly, we have to pay 35%, and if we export through Tunisia, that means 25%, and there's added value of 35% produced in Tunisia. Will be free of tax. That's been very, very important point of view. And in the transition for the next speaker, it will be easy for me also. As you just mentioned, you have a technical agreement with AWEX since 1999. And now, as you know, AWEX, FEET, and Hub Brussels, they are our partners. And as you know, Hub Brussels, they have an economic attaché in Tunisia, and this attaché, he is working for the 3 regions also. And now for me, the transition is very easy. It's my pleasure to give the floor to our friend, Mr. Eric de Klerk, the Director, Africa and Middle East of the AWEX. You just mentioned the name of AWEX, of the agreement, technical agreement. Now the floor is yours, Mr. de Klerk, please.
Thank you very much. Bonjour à tous. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you, Your Excellencies, dear friends of the Arab-Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce, CEPEX, FIPA, Tunisian colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear exporters. It's a real pleasure to be with you. As you mentioned, Kaysare, Tunisia is by far no stranger to Wallonia, and is definitely an important partner for us. and more specifically for our companies. And to emphasize the importance of Tunisia for us I would like to mention that basically our presence in Tunis is quite important. We have a full-fledged delegation Wallonia-Brussels working there with Christian Salens heading the delegation. And I would like to correct a bit what you said, Kaiser. We have also, under the supervision of Christian, a full-fledged commercial office with two colleagues, Besma and Alia, working for us at the service of Walloon companies interested by the Tunisian market. So in what fields are our companies active? They are active in textile industry. I'm talking about our exporters, of course, sustainable energy, environment, construction, health, agro-food sector. Wallonia accounts for an amount of 20 to 25% of the total of Belgian export to the country, and this represents an average amount of 65 to 80, depending the year, million euro a year. Tunisia is the second export market of Walloon companies in the region, but if you use the ratio per capita, in fact, it is our first market in terms of capita. It has been mentioned quite a few times by the colleagues who took the floor before of the importance of the positioning. And basically, my advice to Walloon exporters is that when you look at Tunisia, look beyond Tunisia. So Tunisia is definitely by far an important export destination, and as a public service in charge of export, this is my duty to mention that it's, of course, interesting for companies to go to Tunisia. You mentioned the human capital, you mentioned the position by far, but when you look at Tunisia, keep in mind that you can also use Tunisia as a platform for further export to other African countries. And that is definitely one of the factors that should be analyzed when a company is approaching this market. But you know, I'm a civil servant, and instead of talking as a civil servant, I would like to take a few examples of a few exporters from Wallonia who decided either to invest in Tunisia or to develop their exports to Tunisia. And in a nutshell, the first example I would like to mention is our company Carmeuse, which is a quite well-known company here in Belgium and in Wallonia. And basically, they decided to settle in Tunisia. First of all, they are active in the lime sector. For those of you who do not know who Carmeuse is, and they bought out a Tunisian company, Alama Soja, and basically they redeveloped the business from there. And a good example is that when our ambassador and Mr. Salens attended the opening event of this Belgian investment in Tunisia, one of the first boats that left the port was, intended to go to Ghana. So this is a clear example that, Tunisia can be used also as a platform for redistribution to other African nations. So I don't want to be too long, just to mention to our Walloon exporters presence in the room that basically you have a full-fledged team dedicated to help you here in Brussels. Karim Crèvecoeur, myself, of course, the two colleagues working in Tunis, Besma Ben Salah and Ali Amdalel, and of course, Christian, our general delegate in Tunis. Walloon companies can rely on several incentives when they intend to export to Tunis. And one of the main incentive existing is called Assistance Prospection, and I'm at your disposal to help you and develop further. But if you intend to take part in trade shows, we have also financial supports in order to help you. And last but not least, I wanted to mention that we will be organizing a trade mission to Tunisia, planned in 2022. We have not defined the dates yet. As you can understand, COVID is playing a bit tricks at the moment, and we want to remain prudent. But as a last word, I would like to say that to our exporters, give it a try, and we'll be happy and glad to provide you, reliable information on this market, about its potential, and further things you could do on other African countries. Thank you for your attention, and thank you again to the Chamber for inviting me in taking part in this webinar. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. de Klerk. It's always a pleasure to invite you and to listen to you, and thanks again. And we know the good cooperation we have with our Chamber of Commerce, with your partner, and we have to see the good cooperation and your ability to cooperate more and more with Tunisia. As you just mentioned, Tunisia, it's a closed market and it's open market and a potential market. Now we have to move to our next speaker, our next friend, also Mr. Guilain Bredel, Area Manager, Middle East and North Africa of Hub Brussels. Guilain, please, the floor is yours.
Many thanks, Kaiser. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to give you a few words today. How can Hub Brussels support your business with Tunisia? So I will be really quick. So my friend Sonia is sharing my presentation. So Sonia, could you go to the next slide, please? Yes, so Hub Brussels is a really young agency. It was launched in 2018. It's the result of the merge of three areas of expertise: foreign investment and export services. It was Brussels Invest and Export. It was also the Urban Investment and Economic Development Agency for in shopping district and retail, so Atrium, and Impulse Brussels, that give guidance and support the creation and growth of economic activities in the region. So Hub Brussels is really the merging of those three expertise in one agency and one single stop agency for Brussels entrepreneurs. You can go to the next slide, Sonia. So we have so we are helping Belgian companies, Brussels company, in all their steps, from the candidate entrepreneurs, startups, scale-ups, SMEs, large companies, and we are also providing guidance to foreign investors. And one important thing also is that we have a network worldwide. So Sonia, you can go to the next slide. So about our colleague Sébastien Hardy, is our trade and economic attaché in Tunis. So we opened an office in 2019 in Tunis, and Sébastien is in charge of helping Brussels and Flemish companies to their business when they want to develop their business on the Tunisian market. He's also in charge of, because you told that he was in charge of the three regions. Kaiser, you are right also, because he's in charge of the three Belgian regions for the Algerian markets. So, so Sébastien is doing really some work to help you, and is really proactive. So don't hesitate if you want to have good advice to develop your activities on the Tunisian markets. It's the right contact person. And you can go to the next slide. So Tunisian market is an important market for us also. We organized several activities in the previous year. For example, in 2016, we organized an economic mission focusing on construction and infrastructure. it was most of those activities were organized with the support and in collaboration of our colleague from AWEX and FID, or the 3 other Belgian trade promotion agencies, and also with the ABLCC and FIPA. So it's always a collaboration, and also with the embassy in Tunisia. And then next year we did an economic mission focusing on ICT. Those missions were presided over by our former state secretary in charge of foreign trade and investment. It was Cécile Jodogne. She was really a good friend of Tunisia, and now she's the mayor of the municipality of Schaerbeek. And then she decided also to open our office in 2019, and we organized a Brussels economic mission to open our office in begin 2019. And the president of the CCITS already told you about this. We welcome a delegation of the Tunisian Chamber of Commerce and Industry in April 2019. And during the COVID period, it was more difficult, of course, to organize economic mission. And so we decided to do a matchmaking event in June this year with Tunisian barrier in the food sector. So this was an specific activity where Belgian companies, they send food product to our office in Tunis. And then our colleagues in Tunisia, they decided to do a matchmaking event at the Belgian embassy to promote those Belgian companies in the food sector and to organize matchmaking. And then there was a special tasting event at the Belgian embassy this year. So I think my colleague Liz will tell you more about this event. And then I have also, so it was really a challenging time, but yes, you can go to the next slide, Sonia. But I have also the pleasure to share you a success story. So our agency is supporting, so I told you that our agency is supporting exporters, entrepreneurs in very different ways. And so we have a retail team in Brussels, and they supported the opening of a store of Belgo-Tunisian entrepreneurs. This store is dedicated to Tunisian artisanal and fair trade products. And so this initiative was supported with our retail team in what we call the Auberge Espagnole project. So it's a retail incubator in Brussels. So, and our project is in Saint-Gilles. So now you have the opportunity, if you want, to buy fair trade Tunisian artisanal product in Saint-Gilles during 3 months in this pop-up store. So it's called Medina Fair Lab, and the entrepreneur and founder of this fair trade shop is Hans Bounslama. So I really invite you to do your Christmas shopping in this shop in Brussels. It's really a nice initiative, and the shop is already a great success. So don't hesitate. And so it was really a short presentation, but you can go to the next slide, Sonia. We are really open to give you some advice. I told you that we have our office in Tunis, and Sébastien Hardy and our team in Brussels. We will be really happy to help you, to provide you guidance and advice to do the trade exchange and do networking and develop your business on the Tunisian market. So it will be a pleasure for us. Many thanks to everybody. And I give the floor to our next colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, Gila. Merci. Thank you. I would like to underline, emphasize also the number of activities we organize in collaboration with Hub Brussels to receiving delegation from Tunisia, as you just mentioned. Delegation, we received delegation 1970. In 2017, delegation ICT, we organized a seminar together. And in 2019, also we received delegation from the Chamber of Commerce of Tunisia, if you remember. And thanks again. And really, we would like to congratulate you for this this initiative, Medina Fair Lab, and this very wonderful initiative. Thank you again, and we really appreciate the cooperation we have with the AWEX, FEED, and Hub Brussels. Now, last but not least, I give the floor to our next speaker, Madame Ms. Lise Betjes, Area Manager of for Africa for FEED. FEED means Flanders Investment and Trade. Lise, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, dear ABLCC, for the invitation in this webinar. Dear participants, my name is Lise Betjes and I am the area manager for the region of Africa at Flanders Investment and Trade. This is the export promotion agency for the northern region of Belgium, and I'm mostly responsible for organizing economical missions and other promotional activities in the African region. So I'm one of the last speakers in this webinar, and a lot of what I was planning to say has already been said, but that's okay. I can be really brief then. I will give a very short presentation about the trade numbers between Tunisia and Flanders, and then I will also look back at an action that we did in the foods sector together with our AWEX and Brussels colleagues that was mentioned by Guilain earlier. So about the trade numbers. In 2020, Flanders was responsible for 75% of the Belgian export towards Tunisia, with a total of around 305 million euros. In 2021, so this year, we already have numbers for the first 9 months of the year, so until September. And the value until then of the export products was around 249 million euros. The main export products in 2020 were chemical and pharmaceutical products, base metals, textiles, as mentioned, machines and appliances, and plastics and applications. For the imports from Tunisia to Flanders, I think my colleague from EPEX already mentioned a lot of the numbers. In 2020, I mean, specifically for Flanders, there was an import from Tunisia of around 160 million euros. And in 2021, there was an increase compared to the first 9 months of 2020, and we already had a total value of 123 million euros. The three biggest import products from Tunisia to Flanders are textiles, with more than half of the import products coming from Tunisia. Machines and appliances, and this was also mentioned by Mr. Gagnies as being an important sector in Tunisia. This is also shown in the numbers. So in second place, important sector of import to Flanders, and then third place, base metals. So both in the import and export figures, we can see that the textile sector stays an important sector of collaboration between Flanders and Tunisia. Then, as mentioned, Flanders Investment and Trade does not have an actual office in Tunisia, but Mr. Sébastien Hardy from Brussels is also responsible for the guidance of Flemish companies on the Tunisian market. And so it's with great pleasure that we organized this year together with Brussels and the office of AWEX as well in Tunisia, and all the colleagues here in Brussels in Belgium, an action in the food sector. So the offices in Tunisia invited Tunisian buyers to the garden of the ambassador's residence. And we invited Belgian companies to send their samples, food samples, to Tunis, and a tasting event was organized. And if interested, the Tunisian buyers would get in touch with the Belgian exporters. And it was a successful event this year with around 25 companies participating. So that was it already for my very short presentation. You can find my my email and phone number here on the slide. So any Flemish companies interested in the Tunisian market can reach out to me, and I will be happy to help them. And thank you again, ABLCC, Mr. Hijazin, for the invitation. And bye-bye.
Thank you, Lisa. It's always a pleasure to invite you and to listen to you and to listen to Pete and our other partners. Thanks a lot for your disponibility, and we're sorry for the short notice. We invite you also only last week. So that thanks again for his disponibility and to joining our meeting. Thanks again. Now, last but not least, we will go to the, let me say, to the end of this this webinar. Our webinar will not be achieved without really presenting testimony of a success story for Belgian company. We speak about relation, partnership, so on. But now when we go to the floor, when we go to the ground, and we would like to listen to Mr. Johnny de Meersman. He is CEO of the company Demco. He is in Tunisia since 1987, I think. That's mean he's there since 37 years. And now he will lecture on his success story in Tunisia. Please, Mr. de Meersman, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good day, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to the Chamber for inviting me to do this testimony. I'm Johnny de Meersman, since 1987 in Tunisia, and currently owner and managing director of 25 companies, of which 22 are in Tunisia and 2 in France and 1 in Belgium. I came actually to Tunisia to work for a Belgian company back in 1987. But after 4 years, in 1991, I started my first own company together with my wife, who is Tunisian, by the way, in the clothing business. In the beginning, we did only cut and sew assembling, since the business between Europe and Tunisia at that time was organized in that way, based on 3 principles. 100% export companies in Tunisia had, since the law of 1972, already 50 years next year, they had a special tax and custom regime. Euro 1 and later Euromed deal between the European Union and the countries of the Mediterranean made it also easier to exchange between Tunisia and Europe and Euromed countries. And European companies were sending goods to be assembled as a package to Tunisia at that time. And then Tunisian companies delivered back to Europe the assembled products. The principle still exists. The special custom regime allows companies to import and export very swiftly without import taxes or even delays. And the only thing what has changed is that now 100% export companies are paying also some taxes on their company benefits and dividends. Before, these companies were 100% tax-free. In the past 30 years, our assembling business has evolved into a complete textile and clothing business. We act now as a complete service provider to brands, to name some examples: Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Lee & Wrangler, you all know, and retailers, which means we propose designs, we make the collections, and we deliver full package garments into the stores. So R&D, pattern making, quality testing, supply chain management, production, and logistics are now all under our responsibility and arranged out of Tunisia. At the moment, we are even preparing the next step currently in our textile business, which is evolving from a pure B2B business into a B2C company, which means we will invest in retail. We employ 4,000 people in Tunisia, and our annual turnover is 75 million euros. As a reminder, I started with my wife from zero in 1991. Besides textiles, our group of companies is active also in other areas. We manufacture aluminium solutions for buildings. And as mentioned before from some speakers, we are not delivering this only into Europe, but we're also providing already markets in Africa or the neighboring countries like Algeria and Libya out of Tunisia. We are a provider and installer of solar energy solutions. We have also the biggest testing lab in North Africa. We test leather and textile goods, cosmetics, agriculture, and for the food industry. We are running 3 farms in Tunisia, producing olive oil, jojoba oil, and wine grapes, to name a few. And we are planting trees to offset our carbon footprint of our industries. This year we will plant, we have already planted 75,000 trees, and we will, during the next 3 years, plant another 150,000. We have also a small company providing solutions to cities in Tunisia to keep cities clean. So one of the questions I was asked to give a little response as well is how was the impact of the pandemic in Tunisia? The pandemic in Tunisia itself has caused the same problems than in other countries. There's no very big difference. Probably because of the milder climate here, we had less waves as we have been seeing in Europe. And we seem to have currently also at the moment, less infections than in Europe. The government has also put in more strict rules at the borders. So there are special quarantine hotels put in place for people which are not vaccinated or arriving with symptoms or are infected. The impact on the Tunisian economy was, however, very heavy, especially last year when suddenly orders from the orders to the industry from Europe mainly dropped. And also because the Tunisian government couldn't give the support to businesses as European countries did, because of course a problem of financial limits. What are the pitfalls? What are the do's and not to do's in Tunisia? I think it isn't very different than for any other country. Doing business with Tunisia is in fact easy. The only thing what you need to do is, of course, respect the people and their tradition. Religion is one of them. Perhaps some tips I could give you is Tunisia has a very good infrastructure and strong institutions, like a few of the speakers today. FIPA is one of them, who can very much guide you and help any investor professionally. You need to know and respect the local laws, of course. So a good accounting office and lawyer to guide and help you is crucial if you want to build up a company and constitute a company. If you trade or do business, make sure that everything is put in writing. In general, Tunisian people are very hospitable, open-hearted, easy to do business with or to work with. That's why probably I'm still here since 1987. I've been very successful in this country, and this is based on the Tunisian people, which are, as I said, friendly, hospitable, open-hearted, easy to work with, and very professional as well if they are on the job. But of course, you need to be professional yourself. Giving confidence is a very good thing, but you need to control and check, which is better. Thank you very much for everybody. And if I can help in any way Belgian investors to install themselves in Tunisia, I'm very well open to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Demersman, for this testimonial, and we appreciate really, and we hope to see more and more Belgian companies doing the same, taking the same steps, and you can assure Belgian companies that mean they are in the safe hands if they are going to invest in Tunisia. They are in safe hands, they have a reliable partner also. Thank you again, and wishing you a full success, and we hope to see you and to see more also to see investment coming from Tunisia here in Belgium also to take and to see transfer of technology, as you just mentioned, going in both sides, what we are doing also. Thank you again. And now let me go to the, really we have a real opportunity today to have a meeting with all chairmen of the Tunisian Chambers of Commerce, because they have their own meetings at, where exactly? At Sousse. Yeah, they have their own meeting in Sousse, and we have the opportunity to have a small meeting and presentation with all chairmen of the Tunisian Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Mr. Mouakhar, for this proposal. And I give you the floor, then we will move to the question, if you don't mind, later on. Thank again, and now I give the floor to Mr. Mouakhar. Please, the floor is yours.
Oui, monsieur Idjin. Allô?
Bonjour,
Allô?
on vous attend.
Ah, très bien. Bah, écoutez, voilà, je suis très heureux. Voilà, je vais vous présenter mes confrères et collègues des présidents de chambre de commerce. Donc, voilà, on commence par le président de la chambre du centre, donc, qui regroupe 4 gouvernorats importantes. Donc, ça, c'est la chambre tunuso-arabe de Bruxelles. Voilà.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président. Honoré de faire votre connaissance. Et nous sommes aujourd'hui en réunion. Vous tombez bien parce que nous sommes tous réunis, tous les présidents de chambre de la Tunisie. Nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui. Donc, bonne continuation et bon travail.
Enchanté, enchanté. Vous êtes les bienvenus. Hein? You are most welcome. You are most welcome. أهلا وسهلا. أهلا وسهلا. Please.
أهلا وسهلا. أهلا وسهلا. تفضل.
Bonjour, bonjour.
Bonjour,
Je suis le président de la Chambre de commerce du Nord-Ouest tunisien, 4 gouvernorats. On est limitrophe de l'Algérie et notre région représente énormément de potentialités, aussi bien pour l'agriculture, le tourisme ou l'industrie. Nous serons très heureux de recevoir des hommes d'affaires, des investisseurs de votre pays pour venir faire beaucoup de bénéfices et des bénéfices bien partagés entre la Tunisie et votre pays. Marhaba bikou.
Marhaba, merci beaucoup. Le message est passé. Le message est passé.
Comment?
Je vous passe mon collègue de la chambre de Gafsa, M. Youssef Salem. Youssef Salem, voilà.
Bonjour, honoré de faire votre connaissance. Je suis Salem Youssef, président de la Chambre de commerce du Sud-Ouest. Sud-Ouest tunisien, c'est Gafsa, Kasserine, Sidi Bouzid, Tozer. Donc, c'est l'industrie chimique, c'est le phosphate, c'est le tourisme saharien, c'est l'agriculture. On souhaite une bonne collaboration avec vous. Oui, bien sûr, j'ai dit le phosphate et les produits chimiques.
Merci beaucoup. Un secteur très important, les phosphates, hein, pour la Tunisie, hein, comme chez nous en Jordanie, hein, et au Maroc également. C'est un secteur très important. Voilà.
Très important. Merci, c'est gentil.
Voilà, donc maintenant, nous avons notre collègue de Bizerte. Bizerte, c'est une région très connue ici en Tunisie. Il est le plus beau d'entre nous, donc voilà, je vous le présente.
Bonjour, ravi de faire votre connaissance. Donc, je suis Benaïs Afroz, président de la Chambre de commerce du Nord-Est Bizerte. Bizerte, c'est la ville la plus avancée de la Tunisie, 200 km de côte. On est le point le plus septentrional de l'Afrique, donc le point le plus proche de l'Europe. C'est une zone plus diversifiée. On a le grenier de la Tunisie aux matières agricoles avec Béja, et puis industriel, et puis touristique. C'est une ville qui a connu, elle a une importance prépondérante en Tunisie, et dans l'ère coloniale, la Tunisie, elle a eu l'indépendance en 56, mais Bizerte en 63. Donc ça veut tout dire. Merci.
Enchanté, enchanté. Bizerte, je connais bien. Il y avait la base militaire à Bizerte, absolument.
Ah ben voilà, ben voilà.
Enchanté.
Merci. Eh ben, je suis par la même chose. J'ai fait mes études universitaires à Bruxelles de 77 à 84.
Moi, à l'université, j'avais des amis de Tunis qui venaient de Benzert, la famille Al-Masri, en tout cas. Voilà.
Ah oui, ah oui.
Enchanté.
Enchanté, merci, merci.
Bon, je vous passe la présidente, la seule présidente que nous avons ici en Tunisie, et qui est présidente du Cap Bon, qui regroupe Hammamet, Nabeul et Zagouan. Hammamet, c'est une région très connue dans le domaine du tourisme, donc je vous passe la présidente.
Merci.
Enchanté. Bonjour, madame.
Bonjour, je suis très contente de faire votre connaissance. Je m'appelle madame Najwa Atia Fakik. Je suis présidente de la Chambre de commerce du Caban qui couvre les deux régions de Nabeul et de Zagouan. Vous savez que la région de Nabeul, c'est une région touristique. Nous avons tous les secteurs et surtout l'agroalimentaire et l'artisanat. Et donc, si jamais vous passez à Nabeul, vous pouvez venir chez nous. On sera très contents.
Ce sera avec plaisir. Ce sera avec plaisir. Merci. C'est un plaisir aussi de voir une dame qui est présidente de la Chambre de commerce. Mais en tout cas, bon, c'est pas étranger à la Tunisie parce que c'est le premier pays arabe où une dame qui est première ministre, en tout cas. Voilà, je vous félicite.
Oui.
Je vous félicite.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Enchanté.
On espère vous revoir très bientôt. Voilà.
Enchanté.
Voilà, je vous passe le dernier, qui est le président de Sfax. Vous savez, Sfax, c'est une grande région industrielle et agricole. Et le président, M. Rida Fourati, je vous le passe.
Bonjour, Président.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Vous allez bien?
Alhamdoulilah.
Sfax, c'est la capitale de l'économie tunisienne. 1 million d'habitants.
Et du poisson, elle est bien connue pour le poisson.
Oui, le poisson aussi. On est le premier gouvernorat en énergie, en engrais chimiques, en trituration de l'huile d'olive, premier exportateur d'huile d'olive, premier exportateur de fruits de mer, deuxième port de Tunisie. C'est une ville économique. Bienvenue à Sfax. J'espère qu'on vous, à travers M. Mounir Makhar, vous êtes bien le bienvenu.
Barakallah fik. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Bien, merci beaucoup. C'était une très intéressante journée de coopération pour le doing business in Tunisia. J'espère qu'il y aura des résultats concrets. En tout cas, nous sommes tous à votre disposition. S'il faut faire autre chose, on le fera avec grand plaisir.
Merci beaucoup. Comme on l'a dit, nos partenaires également. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. À bientôt. C'est fini. Voilà. Dépend de Sonia maintenant. Voilà. Thank you. Thank you. We will the question. Yes, we will move now before the end of the session. If you don't mind, Sonia, we will have to move to the question and answer. We have some questions to our partners. If you don't mind, I will move to questions First one is coming from the company DME. DME, if you know DME, he's our partner, he is our sponsor. It's very strong dredging company in Belgium, one of the most important dredging company maybe in Europe also. And they are working since a long time on a deep water port infrastructure investment planned in FIDA. The project has been unfortunately delayed several times due to COVID situation, has not helped. The situation of COVID do not help the situation, of course. We believe such development could play a major role in the future and sustainable development of the region, and therefore are committing our energies till today. What is a vision of the Tunisian government of this project? That means the question maybe, I don't know, it's for Mr. Ghanmi or for the Chamber of Commerce or for Mr. Hpayef, I don't know. Please.
Yes, I will take the question, and despite I don't have really the detailed information, but we are ready to get in touch with him and to check all the details related to this project. But if you are talking about the FIDA deep water port, so it's I think there is a strong will with the current government really to launch all the big projects, and the top priority we need to renew with the deep water port of FIDA, because it's very important to improve the quality of our transport and also logistics. So I hope that soon he will get good news related to this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ghanmi. So that I ask Demi, they can contact the chamber, or we can forward the question, we can go through you.
Yes.
To have touch with the company Demi. Thank you very much. We have another question from Mr. Vermeten. As you know, they are specialized in cargo and have the transit transport relation evolution between Algeria and Libya. How are the transit transport relation between Algeria and Libya? And the same question, are many ports are heavily congested? Do you expect improvement in this import field, this important field? That's mean regarding the transport. If you have, I don't know if you have any answer regarding this question, regarding the transit between Libya and Algeria and the congestion of the improvement of the ports also.
Yes, again, for this question, I think it has been mentioned that Tunisia is a hub for neighboring markets and also for Africa. So we have good connection with Libya and Algeria, and most of the products they are by road. So we rely on the proximity of these two potential markets. Of course, we are enhancing, and nowadays, the president of Algeria is here, and they have signed several bilateral agreements to boost the cooperation between the two countries. I think it's a good news. Also, will be the same with Libya. But for the time being, there is no problem to export from Tunisia to Libya and to Algeria. And we are linked with free trade agreements, bilateral free trade agreements with Algeria and with Libya. And there is no concern related to the transport to these two countries.
One question more is coming from Freddy Janssens. I create a small structure in Tunisia My concern is to make Tunisian customers pay in euro. What is the ideal solution so the Tunisian pay in local device and late I cover the excess on account in Belgium in euro? It's a technical question. I know. I don't know if there is, if they can help. Somebody can help. I don't know.
Well, I will try also to provide some answer to this question. It's something unusual to ask Tunisian to pay in foreign currency for something in the local markets. Usually, we pay for foreign suppliers when it's for export, when it's from abroad. So we have to look to the activity of this company and what are the conditions. I think I understood that his main concern is how to transfer his profits from Tunisia, since he is supplying or he's paying, he has only Tunisian customers. So we have. I need more details to try to provide him with the right answer.
I understand. Understand. Yes, I think we cover.
If you allow, Mr. Jazin, I think there is one last question. So it was still from Mr. Robert Vermetten. So one of the questions that you already asked on transport. And here the question is, we were focused on phosphates, oil industry, maintenance and engineering, chemical, cement industry. How are these sectors doing these days?
Despite some troubles related to chemical sectors, in particular phosphates, we know that we have some trouble during the last 10 years, but we renew now. The production is increasing on daily basis, and we are aiming to regain our position as main exporter because of the quality of phosphates compared to other competitors. But for the cement industry, is well doing, and there is no issue related to this industry. I believe that there are still opportunities in these sectors, despite some issues, mainly related to the social climate in Tunisia. But I think everything now is, we regain confidence, and I think there are more opportunities in the future.
Thank you. It is nice to know that everything is on the right track.
And also, I want to add to Mr. Ghanmi that also we speak about phosphate sector. Now we notice that we notice register a big growth in phosphate exports. We have plus 83% compared to last year. Because last year we have affected of also the health crisis, and also now there is big demand of Tunisian phosphate, and now we have a good growth in the export of phosphate from Tunisia.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we come to the end of this webinar. It's really a great pleasure and honor for our Chamber of Commerce to co-organize this event with the Embassy of Tunisia, and thanks to the Embassy of Tunisia, and would like, by the same occasion, would like to thank our colleague at the Chamber for the good job they are doing to organize this webinar, and would like to thank also His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Bassompierre for your support and your disponibility. And thanks to our partner also, the Chamber of Commerce, Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce of Tunisia, and partners, and our partners FEET, Hub Brussels, and AWEX. And also I would like to thank Mr. Fayef and Mr. Ghanmi for your presentation, and would like to thank all participants in this seminar. And you, please, for participants, would like to thank also all the participants of this webinar. It's really a step, it's not the end of cooperation with Tunisia. Please feel free if you need any more information, if you need any more question regarding Tunisia. As you know, as we know always, La Tunisie est un pays proche, really. Tunisia, it's a close country. It close not only geography, but it's very, very close to our heart, all of us, because I have two colleagues here in the chamber. They are coming from Tunisia, so that it's really, we feel a little bit Tunisian at the Chamber of Commerce. So that feel free if you need any help at the chamber, would be with great pleasure. Thanks again for all of you for your participation, for the success of this mission, and hope to see you, all of you, face to face, because at the end of this COVID crisis, and to see all of you face to face here in Brussels or in Tunisia. Thanks again, and wishing all of you before the holidays, wishing all of you a Merry Christmas and a very happy, healthy, and prosperous and peaceful New Year. All of you, thanks again, and inshallah على خير نراكم على خير جميعا. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hijazin.
أهلا وسهلا.
Thank you. We look forward to see you in Tunis. I hope so soon.
مع السلامة إن
Thank you
شاء الله.
all. Thank you all.
نراكم على خير.
الله يخليك. شكرا. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. Thank you all.
أهلا وسهلا.
Thank you. Bye bye.